Hello, how are you doing? It's Ruby Woman, another edition. On Ruby Woman today, I have an exciting personality, a woman of many parts, um, a woman who has gone through a lot of experiences, and those experiences have shaped her. And as a result, she's helping other women, vulnerable women, to go through life. Well, what am I doing? Come along with me today and meet my special guest on Ruby Woman. Welcome. The precarious situation, you know, especially in our country. And if you like, I think it's the same thing in Africa, probably the world. But before we dwell, on that, let's get to know you. Who is Ebun Fawole?
Thank you very much, Kemi. Good afternoon. And
Good
thank you
afternoon.
so much for this great privilege. Funny enough, I don't even know your mentee, but I guess maybe she follows or she has seen some of the things you do. And it's a great privilege to be here. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Ebun Fawole. I call myself a fixer, a lavender. I soothe the mind.
Wow.
I bring peace, calmness, and tranquility to people's mind.
Love that.
I serve
Wonderful.
as an intervention. Thank you so much. I serve as an intervention to people with negative and the wrong belief system. And of course, we have a lot of them around us. I help them to see their authentic self and embrace their authenticity. And this I do through the push-through consult. The push-through consult, we have two initiatives or three initiatives. We just batted another one during this lockdown. We have three initiatives under push-through consult, and that's a child safety advocacy, where we help sexually abused children, emotionally abused children. We do all advocacy for children under the child safety advocacy. And the second one is the Balanced Woman Initiative. The Balanced Woman Initiative is a place where I create a safe place, a non-judgmental zone for women, just to inspire them and add values to them, empower them to see the power that is within them. Under that, we help them understand.
Do you do that online or you meet in groups?
Okay, we meet in groups. I have a WhatsApp group presently. We are planning to migrate to Facebook, but we have our meetings quarterly. We do have our meetings quarterly in Ilorin here, and this has been on for like 3 years now, and God has been helping us. And the new one, our baby, is the Balanced Teen, where we encourage the teenagers, help them to master their emotions and not control. People say you should control your emotion, but we help them to master their emotions. Because if you're able to master your emotion, even when deep pressures come, you're able to stand because you already understand what is happening around you. And we also help them to analyze and understand that their personality type. So this is what we do under the push-through consults. Thank you once again.
That's great. That's wonderful, and that's quite close to what we do too. I have a YouTube channel, Talk to Mama Ruby, and we encourage young women and youth generally who find it difficult to cope with life pressures, to simply open up and talk about it. Now, something must have informed this your interest. Let's start from where you were born and um your schools.
Sorry, we should start with what?
Let's start from your background.
Okay.
Yes, your schools.
That's interesting. I guess it was because of my background. My background brought me into this race.
Exactly. That's where we're interested.
Just today, I wrote on my social media handle that I'm ready to share my story with people. So I guess you're going to be the first set of people I'm going to share my story with.
Wonderful. I love that.
Okay, so I didn't have a palatable upbringing. I didn't have it palatable while growing up. And but one thing stood me out, and that is I want to make a difference. I dare to be different in everything I do. A lot of people around me do not understand it, but I kept doing it, holding on the red scarlet thread, very small string, which can fall off anytime, but I didn't allow it. I just held in there. Talking about my education, funny enough, after my secondary school, I was at home for 7 good years.
Whoa.
Yes.
7.
7 good years. It wasn't because I was a poor student. It wasn't because I was a poor student. It wasn't because I failed my exam, but because my father wanted me to read medicine. So I kept writing down.
Same old African stories. Wow.
So I kept writing jam. And in those days, jam will give you, is a jam that gives you the course they want to give you. So I was always having 180, and jam will always give me economics. And of course, he still insisted you have to do it. And being the obedient girl, the good girl, I did that. So you can imagine after 7 years.
7 years. So what happened? Did you eventually get it?
Oh, no. No, I did not. So for 7 years, I lost my self-esteem. I lost my self-confidence. You can imagine after 7 years, that means the children that were in primary 6, when I was completing my secondary school, were the ones who were entering the university together. They were already rounding up the university. They were already entering university too. So my mates had gone. So it was a very serious one. So I lost who I was. But like I said, I was holding on that tiny thread, knowing that there is something about me that is different.
Indeed.
And I went on like that. So I entered the university at the age of 25.
25?
At the age of 25. When some other people have ended and finished serving and already planning to get married. So you can imagine what that is to a young lady like me at that time.
Yeah.
But I kept on. I kept on holding on. And I guess it was the doggedness that helped me to this point, because right now I am running my PhD. And before that, I eventually so I eventually entered the university to read guidance and counseling. That was when the spotlight came on, and that was when the light bulb came on. And instead of seeing what I went through as in the negative way, my perspective was different. I was like, okay, so instead of saying, God, why me? Mine was, so God, what's next? What do you want to bring out of this?
Wow.
And that is how it is. So presently I'm running my PhD.
Wow.
And that I have added a lot of certifications, knowing that my story is a tool in my hands to help other people. That's what I'm doing.
Quite impressive, really. Quite impressive.
So
interesting. You have done so well. I mean, this it's something that will definitely inspire a lot of people.
Thank you
Now,
so much.
you have talked about what informed that of course would have, like you said, informed your interest in gender empowerment. You know, it's good. It's good. Now, so far, what has been
Yeah.
your experience in relating with women, especially with women with different kind of experiences, close to the kind that you've had while growing up?
Okay, so we have different categories of people, women especially, and I tell women you are phenomenal. We are gifts, but our culture, our tradition, our environment tends to want to limit us to a side. And that is what I see in all women. You know, when the situation started falling in and all, of course I had people saying, you better go and marry her out, and all that kind of a thing. And with my experience, there's a tendency to be depressed and to see myself as you have no worth. And that is what I help women with. Women should not see themselves as a second-class citizen. The one who created us created everybody in his likeness. And he has deposited a lot of gifts into every one of us. For women, give the woman a sperm, he gives you a human being. Put anything into the hands of the woman, and they turn it around for you. So I tell women, whatever it is you're going through, don't leave yourself dying. Pick up yourself and move. And this is what I like about this present generation. We call them the Generation Z. They don't want to be overruled. They know what they carry and they are ready to use it. And this is what I tell women. When we talk, when we interact with people, I tell them, if the title Mrs. or mommy something is taken away from you, who are you? Why are you here? What's your purpose of existence? You won't be excused when you get to heaven. If we're going to one heaven one day, because that's what they tell us, if there's a heaven somewhere, when you get to heaven, you won't be excused. God will not tell you, because your husband did this to you. So you forgot about your purpose. You stopped living because you had children. You stopped living. You didn't fulfill purpose. So you are excused. Enter into the kingdom of God. No, that's not what it is. God is going to ask you what you did with everything he has endowed you to. And I mentioned women like Ebun Fawole. She's doing excellently well. She's a woman. We can't afford as women to be at the background.
So
we can't afford as women.
Women should live their lives to be role models to other women, especially younger women. That's good, and that's great. Well done.
And so Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful
young
work
ladies.
You're doing.
Thank you so much. I tell young ladies, if you don't understand purpose, you are not supposed to enter marriage. Because marriage can either make you or mar you. But if you understand purpose, you have something that wakes you up every morning to want to become who you are called or designed to be. Thank you so much, Kemi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about this very controversial very topical issue that is quite common in our society today. Let's talk about rape. Let's talk
Okay.
about rape. What is rape? That in itself, it's controversial. What is rape? Can you just define for us?
Okay. What is rape? People define rape in different ways. But rape is a crime. That's just it.
It's a crime.
Rape is a crime, typically committed by men. Yeah, I'm going to say that.
But they do say
Typically,
that,
because of statistics, yeah, we have female, we have women raping men, but we have more of them. That's why I said typically committed by men, and is an act of forcing another person to have sexual intercourse. Forcing is an unlawful forcing. Yeah,
that
forcing.
Because we'll get back to that. All right. Let me even take that further. Let's not come back to it. Let me take it further. When people, because you mentioned force,
yeah,
people talk about marital rape, and typical African, men would tell you, how can a man rape his wife? It's not possible. How do you react to that?
Of course, you and I know that spousal rape is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very possible. And that's why we say it's a force. When it is forcefully done, then it is the husband, the lady has a right to her body. So when she does not consent, then it is rape.
I like that. Now let's take it further.
Okay.
Is there a possibility anywhere of looking at a rapist as a victim?
Yeah. The possibility is very high. The rapist, that's what we call them now. The rapist was once that fine boy, that cute little baby that was given birth to at a time that everybody celebrated. And so along the line, something happened. So what could have happened? We can say a rapist had also gone through rape, had been abused in one form or the other. A rapist had been exposed to something. It can be a rape in their emotions.
It
can be a rape in their emotions. You see, when I define a predator now, a predator is a system that is not in line. It can be a system. It can be a system. It can be an individual that violates your rights. Yeah, that violates your rights. So, a rapist somehow has been abused. It can be emotionally. It can be via sexual abuse, which had left them in a state.
Is that the case in all situations?
No, that's not the case in all situations. And that's why I use the word emotional abuse or physical or sexual abuse.
Okay. Yeah. Let's journey now into the mind of the rapist.
Our culture is another big thing.
That could rape?
Yes. That has given a wrong idea, a wrong interpretation, a wrong meaning to a rapist. That has formed the idea of a rapist. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me explain that.
Good. Please do.
So that means I'm talking about 3 forms of rape now. 3 forms of experiences that rapists go through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first one is our method of socialization.
Socialization method.
Yes, that's the patriarchal method of socialization that we run in Africa. That the man has the power, and the woman is just there. The woman
generally,
is
rapists are the men. So, how does this? I mean, it should positively, affect them, but it seems it's
that
not.
they are the man. No, it gives them a kind of domination. It gives them a kind of control.
Okay.
It gives them, they see themselves as they are trained to be in charge, and so they want to take anything they want.
Okay.
And the woman, on the other hand, the girl child, is trained to respect, to honor. In fact, we tell them you need to learn to cook so that you will cook for your husband. If you don't do well in school, who will marry an olodo? That's the socialization we're giving our women. Why we are on the flip side of it, we are telling the male child, we are telling him to dominate, to be in control, to exert power.
Going into the mind of a rapist now, it's something that has been structured by the society to be like that.
By the upbringing. So that's why a man, we want to exact power on his wife. I am your wife. I married you. When I want sex, you must give me. Exacting power.
The husband, the man of the house.
That's the word force. Forcefully. They are exacting power.
But yet we have men who are not who do not toe that line. What happened?
Probably they are not raping, but if you look at the kind of marriage system we practice, the daddy is the Lord.
Wow.
Raping us emotionally.
Are you saying what I think you're saying? That all men are rapists? One way or the other?
I like that angle you're coming out from.
I'm simply trying to interpret what you're saying.
So we need to work on our method of socialization. We need to start teaching values. When we teach values, we respect one another.
Now, let me bring something in there. How important then is the influence of the mother? After all, women are the ones who bring up these children, male or female. So how come?
The mother has been patterned, conditioned, wired to do that right from when she was growing. Of course, that's the same thing that is affecting her. And so the new revolution now, the new thing, the new understanding that we now have as women is that we need to start training our children, our male children, to know how to cook, to do all that, and to respect
women,
every female gender, every female individual around them. And that is what we are teaching now. So that's about that, about culture.
Reorientation.
Reorientation. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that about our socialization. The other thing that is raping our children generally is the society, the music around, the music we listen to. all this Dibanj, Naira Mali, and all that.
Let's not mention names here.
We need to talk about all this. We hear the music. We invite them to our parties. They enter our homes.
Music.
They come into our houses without knocking. We have houses built, we have fences and all, but these people come into our houses without knocking. They speak vulgar languages. They say all those dirty things. I want to touch your breast. I want to do all that. These are what our children are taking in.
So it conditions their senses. Wow.
And so it will get to a point in time you want to practice what you're seeing. What you focus on, you become. And that's why we're talking about pornography. Pornography is life and direct now. All those things condition the mind of the rapist. And these are the things we need to pay attention to. You know, when I talk about rape, I tell people there's nothing we have not done. We have done a lot of things, but we have not treated these two areas of our lives. We don't talk about it. The conditioning of the mind. The music industry.
The entertainment industry generally, because if you look at Nollywood,
the entertainment, you know, there was a time a group of NGOs, you know, we invited and we spoke with some of these producers, and they were like, when they produce their movies, they already put age range on it, and that's where they're turning it back to parents. Of course, they rated their movie 16, 18. And we have parents sit down with their 4-year-old, 5-year-old to watch these movies. Conditioning of the mind.
Wow. That's heavy. That's quite heavy.
I think so too.
Now, while we're at that, working at trying to change things, trying to help, you know, our young ones and all that.
Yeah.
Can we help our young women? Is it possible to confront a rapist? Is it possible?
Okay, so I have worked with quite a number of girls, survivors, that we have to confront them. Most of the cases I handled, there are cases where, funny enough, the rapists are family members.
Yeah, in most cases.
Father, cousin,
uncles, family, friends.
And you know, it will get to a point, the family will tell you, we don't want to have any case again. Can you please answer? We have experienced quite a number of them. We have experienced situations where they will tell us, it's a family thing, we'll settle it in the family. Our pastor will handle it for us. And what I tell people is, the girl is the one suffering it. She takes it on. The damage is irreparable. Even after going through therapy, there's always a relapse.
The sky is there.
There's always, every time there is an outbreak on the social media of a rape case, they are re-traumatized. They are re-traumatized, and that's a problem. And so most of the survivors, I call them survivors, most of the survivors I've worked with, what they always want the rapist to do is to own up to it. Can you imagine that? That's all they want. They just want the rapist to own up to it, that I did it.
I did it.
That's what I have discovered. That's what all of them want. They just want you to say, I did it. But of course,
is there nothing that can be done about the sensibility of our young women? Because our young women's timidity seem to be a concern here. It's that timidity also that makes it difficult for many of them to even want to come out at all and talk about it. But even when they do, it becomes a bigger problem for them. But from the onset, it's in most cases, as I've also had cause to pick from survivors, quote unquote, as you have said, the timidity in the first place, in some cases, actually led to it. Because some who are very aggressive, when they get into a situation, they are able to, fight themselves out of it. They're able to struggle and get them out of it. But a lot of our young women are so timid.
That's the upbringing.
That can be done about this? Yeah.
That's the upbringing.
Can we do something about it?
And that is what the church is teaching. And we need to be careful. Mothers need to be careful. You need to help your children to set boundaries.
Mothers, just say.
Yes.
Bringing it back to women.
Yes. You need to help your children to set boundaries. A lot of people still claim ignorance. A lot of women still claim ignorance. But I think you should know. I don't believe that. With all that is happening around us, we are not supposed to play any ignorance. Even the rapist, the predator, play on your child's ignorance. That's what they do. So the timidity, all we can do is to help. And that's what we do under the Balancing initiative, helping them to know the power that they have. The power to say no.
No.
Okay. The power to say no. You own your body. Your body is your body. You have the authority. Yeah, it belongs to you.
Over it.
You have the authority over your body. And talking about secrets, we talk about the fact that in the case of the child sexual abuse, we say the rapist grooms their victim. They groom the victim, they buy things, they say nice things. That's how they do it to get their attention. I'm sorry, I don't know. Maybe because the kind of relationship I have with my daughter, I have a 16-year-old, going to be 16-year-old girl. I don't know, the kind of relationship we have, I don't think anybody can sugarcoat her. So it still boils down back to our relationship with our children.
Mothers.
Very important.
So important.
Very important. You need to be close to your children. The truth of the matter is, if you're not able to instill some things into your female child between the ages 3 and 13, there's nothing you can do again. That's when you build the confidence. That's when you build your values. That's when you teach morals. Because by the age 13, by age 13, they want to be your friend, or you will lose them. Yeah. So mothers need to pay attention. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm saying. For mothers, we need to pay attention. I know the early stages of marriage can be very challenging, can be very demanding, can be very stressful. But in the midst of all that, your children uprightness is very important to you? Why is it that it is that same age, the early marriage? Why is it that that's the same age your children falls victim most? There is something about this age range, the early marriage, the early childhood. So when you're going through all that, don't be selfish. Don't get carried away. And that's why I'm saying, if you understand your purpose before entering marriage, nothing can take you off your guard. You need to create a life around yourself. Understanding, when you understand who you are, what you carry, there's nothing any situation can do that will take you off your guard. Off your guard, now, I mean, it's not helping you pay attention to your children.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Because that early time, that's when we want our children to go to school. We don't have time. We are also hurting.
Exactly.
Have a lot
where I'm
of
going.
things.
Women today, we're so concerned about our career, about our profession, about this, about money. And the children are there suffering. No one to take care. I think we need to redefine. We need to redefine the mother's role in the life of children. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yes,
and we need to keep talking about these things. I think more and more NGOs need to talk about this for the sake of the progress of our society.
And the funny thing now is, if you don't do that, if you don't speed up your game, if you don't up your game, we have techie children at age 2. A child can operate the phone.
Yeah.
So what you're not teaching, her or him, the social media is teaching.
We teach. Honestly, it's scary. It's scary. It's scary. Now, our time is fast spent. Let's quickly round off now. So what do you think should be our society's response? How do you think we can begin to navigate our situation so that we can begin to work, towards changing the narrative? What's the hope for future generation, in all this? How can we begin to work to achieve, a positive change?
Thank you very much, Kemi. Thank you very much. What can we do? The only thing we can do is to go back to our family. The family.
The family.
Your family is a nation.
Sure. Absolutely.
And what you put into your children is what they will pass on. A lot of people say they go through something and they say it's generational cause. There's nothing like generational cause. It's the wiring that is being passed on.
Wow.
You're passing on the wrong wiring. You're passing on the wrong patterning. Because you don't give your children the right life skill, they go out there and mess up. And so we need to go back, and set our goals right. You need to sit down and have a family values. For those that are just coming up, the young families, you need to set up your values, set up your family values. You need to have family values. This is what we represent. This is what our family is known for. I'm sorry I have to quote this good book that says, train up a child in the way he should go. So that when he grows up, he will not depart from it. So it is the wiring. Don't leave them carelessly. This is how it works. When you don't do the wiring, a lot of things we do the wiring for them. And that is when we have confused. That's why we have confused teenagers. I have seen teenagers that are right. you understand, that are very balanced. It is the wiring.
Wow.
So the family, we need to go back to the family. Even when we teach social studies, we say socialization, the primary unit of socialization is the family.
Sure.
But now we are leaving it to the school, to the church,
to the general society, to social media. Social media.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
I got to the point where I teach my children Christianity. I don't want anybody to teach them religion. You teach spirituality, not religion. So we need to pay attention. The family is the primary unit.
Family. Sure.
So we need to go back to the family and sit. And this is a challenge to every premarital counseling or premarital counselors, a church, when they do premarital counseling, any organization, the mosque, where they train, we need to bring all this down. I saw on the social media that Vietnam, before you get married in Vietnam, you must present a certificate, mental health certificate. Yeah. So you can imagine, they want to be sure you are okay before you start
in the head. Wow.
So we need to go back. We all need to go back to the family. Everything boils down back to the family, the father, the mother. What wiring are you doing to your children?
Wow. Thank you so much, Ebun Fawole. It's been a wonderful time talking with you. I've learned much, and I believe my viewers also would have been able to pick a lot of points from all we have discussed. I want to believe that your organization's focus and future projection also would be on how to build strong and progressive family within our society, so that our society will be a better place for all of us. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. This past 52 minutes. Can you believe it?
Wow, just like that.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Please, who knows? We may have calls to bring you back, because there's still so much to talk about. Talking about mental health, of our children. A lot of them today are having such issues. Talking about how to cope within, how to prepare for family life, and all that. We have so much we can talk about. I hope you oblige us whenever we call on you.
No problem. That would be very nice, ma'am.
Thank you very much. It's been wonderful.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
And that's it, people. That's it. On Ruby Woman, we'll bring another interesting personality next time. Bye.
Bye.